for this address. Keep your hands up and follow orders. This is the FBI. We have a warrant for...
They handcuffed me and my wife out here. They wanted me to sit on the curb while they were carrying this out, something that I refused to do. They wanted my wife to sit on the curb out here, that she refused to do.
As I was coming out, this big old drone met me.
The only revolutionary organization that's done something here on the ground practically for African people is the one that's come under attack. Institution that offers a community radio station, a newspaper, a commercial kitchen, an Aquaba Hall rental space, and community office for our organizers. That was the building that has come under attack.
You need a breach? What do you need?
Need one.
I don't know.
What's whole Bentley money?
Don't
take it.
We will build a movement of white people that says hands off the Uhuru movement.
They see in the African People's Socialist Party a vanguard for the struggle for the liberation of our people. They see that because not just what we do here in the United States, but because we had the temerity to do like Garvey, to do like Malcolm X, and take the struggle of black people around the world.
Uhuru, comrades. Hands off Uhuru. Hands off Africa. Uhuru. Right on. Well, I just want to welcome everybody to today, Saturday, December 7th, a very special and the last Hands Off Uhuru webinar as we approach the important date of December 16th, which is the sentencing hearing of the Uhuru 3. And my name is Mwezi Odom. I have the great honor to have served as the chairperson of the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa Fightback. And I just want to, begin this program by saluting my leadership, Chairman Amalia Shatella, Deputy Chair Onazanaya Shatella, and the whole entire African revolution, which is behind this struggle and the struggle of all colonized people. Before I continue, I do want to just salute one of the Uhuru 3 who is going to be my co-MC on today, Comrade Penny Hess, who is on the ground in St. Louis, ground zero of the raids. Uhuru, comrade.
Uhuru, it's great to be here today. It's always so great to be on with you, Chairman Mwezi, and I do want to salute all the wonderful people and supporters that are on this webinar so far.
Right on. Me too. I mean, we have a great showing of support. Those who have been with us since day one and those who are just joining us now. And we want to really welcome you, comrades, and we hope that you will stay on today's really dynamic program. And yes, Uhuru comrades, I see Comrade Paulette in the chat and many others. And before we begin today's program, thank you. We have a slide that we're going to show some slides, but I also want to acknowledge today too that, today's title, right, is called African People's Indictment of the U.S. Government. On today, today we are going to continue to expose the history of the government's unending conspiracy against the Black community and free speech. You can see this clear and simple in the Hands Off Uhuru Fight Back and the attacks that we have endured since day one. And today we also want to salute December 7th, which is also known by the colonizers as Pearl Harbor, Remembrance Day, as a commemoration of the anti-colonial struggle of the indigenous Hawaiian people. We will show you a segment of today's program will be dedicated towards struggle. We also want to, as we say, we will on today expose the breadth of the government attacks on our movement over the past 2.5 years now, in the context of the U.S. government's attack on the African liberation movement. Again, these attacks have not only failed to silence the Uhuru movement, but they have strengthened our movement, gathering massive support across the political spectrum. And on today, as you know, this Hands Off Uhuru Fight Back that was born out of the ashes of the raids. This coalition continues to stand on principle and waging the fight back against for the victory of African people and all democratic rights for everyone. So, comrades, thank you so much for joining us. We're gonna go ahead and actually, before we start, I do want to say that today, as always, we have a goal to raise resources towards the Hands Off Uhuru Fight Back. We have a really dynamic program. You will be hearing from some of our coalition members, and we will also be giving you updates in the fight back as well. We have a goal to raise $1,000 on today, and we're going to take some time in today's program to go through the whole program. If we do that, I want to turn it over to Chairwoman Penny, who's going to open us up with a dedication about the December 7th Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. And, a salute to our Indigenous brothers and sisters of Hawaii. So I will turn it to you, Comrade Chairwoman Penny, but before we continue, Uhuru.
Uhuru, Chairman Wazy, just such a dynamic work leading the Hands Off Uhuru Fight Back Coalition. And before we start, as always, I want to salute my leadership, Chairman Omali Ishitela, Deputy Chair Ona Zane Ishitela, and to reiterate that I am one of the Uhuru 3. Chairman Omali Ishitela is the main target of the Uhuru 3 of the US government's attack on the African liberation movement, and also my comrade, Jesse Neville, chair of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. And I wanted to open up, as Chairman Wazy stated, today is December 7th, something that the US government puts out as Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day, which a lot of people, and I won't get into this, but a lot of people, some people say that was a false flag created by the US government in order to force the US into the Second Imperialist War, the bombing of Pearl Harbor. I've heard many people say that, and that could well be true. But the thing that we do want to say is that the thing that the US government doesn't talk about is that there were indigenous people in the islands that include Hawaii, and that the indigenous people of Hawaii are colonized, just as indigenous people that we know inside the US and African people and colonized peoples here and around the world. So we wanted to just start by showing this statement by Haunani Trask, who was a leader. She is no longer with us. She has passed away, but she was a very, very powerful leader of the indigenous movement of Hawaii. And this is a beautiful statement, anti-colonial statement by her. Just wanted to show a few minutes of that to say that we salute the indigenous people of all of the Americas, including the indigenous people of Hawaii.
Uhuru.
Aloha kākou. Aloha, Kalahui Hawaii. Aloha, the indigenous people of these islands. Aloha to you, my love to you, because you are still here. The intention was to kill every one of us, and we are still here 100 years to the day that the racist American country took our sovereignty. I am not an American. 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 Do you think they can hear us now? You think John Waihee is listening? You think Dan Inouye is listening? How about the Office of Hawaiian Affairs? We are not American. We are not American. We are not American. We are not American. Say it in your heart. Say it when you sleep. We are not American. We will die as Hawaiians. We will never be Americans. I am here to explain what sovereignty is. Sovereignty, as many people say, is a feeling. The other day in the paper I read sovereignty is aloha. It's love. Later on someone said it's pride. No. Sovereignty is government. Sovereignty is government. It is an attribute of nationhood. We already have aloha. We already have pride. We already know who we are. Are we sovereign? No. Because we don't have a government. Because we don't control a land base. Sovereignty is not a feeling. It is the power of government. It is political power. It is politics. Hawaiians are always being told, especially at the university, join the Democratic Party. I am here to tell you that my grandfather helped to found the Democratic Party, and I repudiate it in front of everyone. I repudiate the Democratic Party just like I repudiate the Republicans. If the Republican Party gave us sugar, the Democrats gave us Waikiki. If the Republican Party gave us racism, the Democrats gave us another form of racism. We are not 50% Hawaiian. We are Hawaiian, period. Many years ago, the Soviet Union, now called Russia, invaded Europe and divided it up. Recently, Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait. The Soviet Union is no longer in Europe. Saddam Hussein has been pushed out of Kuwait. But the United States has not been pushed out of Hawaii. They invaded this place. They brought the Marines here. They took our queen. They put her in prison. Maha'oi haole, racist haole. We will never forget, any more than the people in Latvia and Lithuania and Estonia forgot, any more than the Maori of Aotearoa forgot, any more than the Tahitians forgot against the French. We will never forget what the Americans have done to us. Never! Never, never, never! The Americans, my people, are our enemies, and you must understand that. They are our enemies. They took our land. They imprisoned our queen. They banned our language. They forcibly made us a colony of the United States. America always says they are democratic. Lies! That is a lie! They have never been democratic with Native people. They have never been democratic with Indians. They have never been democratic with Hawaiians.
Uhuru, wow, what a powerful statement. That was 1993.
Long live. Yes, I am not American. I am not American. Do you think they can hear us? And that freedom call is one that we, in this fight back must continue to, push back on all the attacks and the assaults, on the people and the anti-colonial fight for even just, something as significant as our identity, who we say we are and what we deserve to fight for as African, Indigenous, and all colonized people. So I just really want to salute and appreciate you, Chairwoman Penny, for bringing that to this space. Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. All right, comrades. Well, we are not, we are not stopping. We're going to move on in today's program. We have a very exciting program for you on today. So we're going to pull up a quick slideshow to give us an update about, what got us here on today and what you can expect in today's program. So just to say that, as we know, on December 16th, the United States government plans to sentence Chairman Amalia Shatella, Penny Hess, and Jesse Neville for up to 5 years in prison for advocating for reparations to African people and for talking about African liberation. And we know that these charges are completely bogus. They are fabricated, and there are a manufacturization of the U.S. government and this attack on the African liberation movement. This is an attack on Russia. This is an attack on all other, any other entities that stand against the United States, that stand against them and their, and their allies. And the party, it must be clear, has always stood against all wars, all predatory wars led by the United States government and its allies. And we have always been and stood in principled solidarity with all colonized people. And so we want to take a moment to show everybody just where we have been in this fight back. Before we get to that point, I just want to once again salute the Uhuru 3, Chairman Amalia Shatella, Chairman of the African People's Socialist Party. Sorry, next slide. Thank you, comrade. Penny Hess, Chair of the African People's Solidarity Committee, and Jesse Neville, Chair of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. And if you have not already, please share today's program. We want everybody to, join us where we are live here on Zoom, also on Facebook and on YouTube. We also want to continue to, make it clear that we stand in solidarity and we say free Mumia, free all political prisoners. We salute this comrade and this fight back, and we want everybody to, remember that the fight back, happens here on the ground, but it also happens behind enemy lines. And Comrade Mumia, as well as Comrade Leonard Peltier, are prime examples. And so we continue to stand in solidarity and say not one more year, free Leonard Peltier. Free all political prisoners. Next slide here shows just our solidarity with the Leonard Peltier Ad Hoc Committee. You will hear a little bit more as an update about that committee on today's program as well. Today, you will also hear from Comrade Sister Efia Nwangaza, who is an activist, a SNCC veteran, and the director of the Malcolm X Center for Self-Determination. We want to appreciate this comrade who is going to be joining us on today. We also want to salute another one of our speakers, Guadalupe Carrasco Cardona, who is with Unión del Barrio, an educator and one of the Liberated 2, which you have seen us brought you that fight back earlier on. I think this was last year, this fight back that the comrades of Unión have been fighting. So Lupe will be giving us an update and tell you why you need to be at the sentencing in December. I think actually we want to just salute Comrade Jan Lamont because he is actually unable to join us on today, but always standing in principled solidarity with the movement, an activist, a political prisoner who, has just reminded us that, wherever you are placed in this colonial system, whether it is behind enemy lines, locked up, in these colonial prisons, that the fight does not stop and that is where you must organize as a political prisoner. So we want to salute Comrade Jan Lamont. And we also want to say that you will be hearing from the Uhuru 3, Comrades Penny Hess and Jesse Neville on today. So the case of the Uhuru 3. As we understand, this case is one that has impacted and will continue to impact the future of free speech. The significance of the Uhuru 3 anti-colonial free speech movement has brought back this counteroffensive to push back against these charges. And again, this started with the vicious July 29 attacks, July 29, 2022, when 7 homes and properties of the Uhuru movement were violently attacked in these raids. Again, these were military-style attacks. This was an assassination attempt on our chairman. Had he not been awake, already up, prepared for the day, this could have been a very different, outcome on that day. And so we really want to, acknowledge the significance of the revolutionary stance of the chairman of this movement that was prepared to fight back. And that is what initiated the Hands Off Uhuru Fight Back campaign. And the attacks since July 2022 have been ongoing. And we're going to talk about that, a little later on in this program. Some examples are some of the fightbacks that we are still fighting right now on the ground in North St. Louis, just trying to bring healthy food and, programs to the community, and the constant pushback by the local government, which we understand is influenced by the federal government and the whole entire colonial state. But this fight back, comrades, has reached across the globe, literally. And we just want to, really appreciate everybody who was on this call, everybody who has been with us since day one, and who has taken their own responsibility to take this out into the world. This fight back is not over, comrades, and we will continue to talk about, even after we win, because we will be victorious, that we will continue to build this anti-colonial free speech movement. Uhuru. I also want to say that the Hands Off Uhuru Fight Back Coalition, continues to acknowledge and to support this entire fight back. So comrades, if you have not joined the Hands Off Uhuru Fight Back Coalition, or you don't know about it, go to handsoffuhuru.org/coalition to learn more. We have over 200 supporting and endorsing organizations, and over 50 members, who have taken the stance to join the Hands Off Uhuru Fight Back Coalition, and you can see all of that on the website as well. Uhuru. So what can you do? Comrades, you can continue to spread the word about this, about these attacks. If you have a committee, or if you have a group of people or organizations that you work with, put this on your agenda. Talk about the Uhuru 3. Make this a household name so that everybody understands that freedom of speech is under attack. Support our institutions. And by our, I mean the institutions of the Uhuru movement, the institutions that are by and for the people. Donate to this fight back, as well as pack the courthouse on December 16th. And again, we have a goal today to raise $1,000 towards the legal fees towards this this entire fight back. So we want to appreciate everybody who have already gone to handsoffuhuru.org/donate to make your donation and help us reach our goal on today of raising just $1,000, which is a drop in the bucket, the large bucket that we have all contributed to over the past 2 years towards this fight back. And we are calling on everybody all out to December 16th, and we will talk more about that in today's program. So the attacks. July 2022 was a quick, fast, backing up to where this, really began. On July 2nd, actually, 2022, was when a man on the ground in St. Petersburg, Florida, with a military-style flamethrower set fire to the huge red, black, and green flag that flies proudly over the Uhuru House in St. Petersburg, Florida. Videos and more information of this can be seen on our website at handsoffuhuru.org, but there is just a quick video, I believe, here that can be shown briefly.
Developing out of St.
Go ahead.
Petersburg. Right now, the search is on for a man caught on camera using a flamethrower to torch an African flag. You're seeing some of that video right here. You can see that flamethrower right there over in the corner, and that being the African flag. This happened this weekend at the Uhuru House. 10 Tampa Bay's Megan Myers spoke with members there today as they say they were targeted for their beliefs.
The African People's Socialist Party says that a nearby neighbor who witnessed the incident tried to stop the man from fleeing this parking lot.
Our connection to this community was clear on Saturday when someone tried to prevent the arsonist from escaping the parking lot.
Akile Nai says this building has been a long-standing community center for the organization to hold meetings and events. She says the basis of this weekend's attack is clear.
This was a targeted, ideologically informed attack.
The surveillance video shows a man pulling up in a white car, sitting inside for a few minutes, and then getting out a large flamethrower from his trunk. Jamie Simpson says it was an attempt to intimidate the African community.
No one can stop the African working class from organizing in their own interests to free themselves.
Leaders of the organization want this to be looked at as an arson case. But St. Pete police say it's being considered criminal mischief because of the low monetary value of the damage. The group says they're confident they'll be able to track down the person responsible.
Clearly it was politically motivated, a very ideological kind of attack.
If you have any information about this incident, you are asked to contact police. I'm reporting in St. Pete, Megan Myers, 10 Tampa Bay.
Thank you, Megan. And we did ask St. Pete Police if they're looking at this as a possible hate crime. They say to be a hate crime, there has to be a reference to race, religion, sexuality, and there was none of that. They add that this is the early stage of the investigation, and it is possible that a hate crime charge could be added later if deemed necessary.
Uhuru. Well,
Developing out of St. Petersburg.
And we know that if anything, I believe this individual was charged with a misdemeanor, but this was a clear attack. As Director Akile, the Director of Media and Communications for the African People's Socialist Party, stated, this was a clear attack on the African community. And again, because this organization is so rooted in the community, we had somebody who immediately came out, to help stop this attack. On July 2nd. And again, that was 27 days before the July 29 raids that happened on the ground, once again in St. Petersburg, Florida, and St. Louis, Missouri. And again, this was when the chairman initiated and called the press conference in front of his house, which you can see there on the bottom there with comrades Alderman Jesse Todd, also the President General of UAPO, Zaki Barudi, and others who stood in solidarity with the movement and initiated the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa Fightback. So then on September 2022, we also found that, change.org, change.org removed the Africans Charged Genocide petition. This was a petition that had garnered over 130,000 signatures just online alone, not including, and also including paper petitions as well. And this was another attack and attempt by the U.S. government to wipe clean any evidence of this movement's long work to charge the United States with genocide using international law. October 2022, we also had a member and an activist of the Uhuru movement at the time who was arrested while volunteering in the community garden in St. Louis on bogus charges of making terrorist threats. And again, this comrade was held for about 2 weeks, but before an arraignment was held, and they were interrogated by the FBI, curious about how the community felt about the Uhuru movement. December 2022, this is when the Uhuru movement received word that arrest for the unindicted 4 co-conspirators, and actually I missed that slide earlier, but following the raids, Chairman Amalia Shatella, Akile Anayi, who you saw earlier, Penny Hess, and Jesse Neville were all named as unindicted co-conspirators. And we learned that in December that indictments and arrest of them and possibly others were imminent. In January 2023, we witnessed a church burning of a church that the Uhuru movement was under contract of purchasing to help continue to build the programs on the ground in St. Louis. This church was an inferno, burned right across the street from Chairman Amalia Yeshatella's home. And this church burned almost entirely to the ground. And again, no investigation was done, and whatever was the outcome of it, again, some kind of misdemeanor, coming from these, from this blatant attack. Again, 162 days after the raids. In February 2023, we witnessed, our really profound work that happened to mobilize and to push back against these attacks that happened on the ground in St. Louis, because it was the St. Louis police and it was the local government who participated in these raids. Again, the cell phones and the phones were cut off, in the homes of Chairman Amalia Shatella and the other movies, so that nobody could even communicate with each other. This was all working of the city government and the police. And so we held a meeting with the St. Louis aldermen about our resolution, the Sanctuary City, the Dred Scott City of Refuge Sanctuary City resolution, to push back and to prevent any police or any local governments working against members of the Black community who are organizing, for the betterment of their community. And we had, we're not going to show this video, but you can find this on the website, where the St. Louis alderman completely lied, said that they were going to bring the FBI in to come and discuss this. But again, they did not. They completely lied, and the community fought back. We also found that in February, the State Department announced a $10 million reward for anyone with any information on Ionov, another individual who was mentioned in this indictment, or any of the associated entities. Again, this was just a desperate attempt. And again, no indictment had actually, or no charges had ever even came down at this point, but just another desperate attempt of the United States government to try to pull something out of nothing. And then again, in February, on Valentine's Day, Colonial Day, February 14th, 2023, the Pinellas County, this is in St. Petersburg, Florida, Board of Supervisors revoked funding for Black Power 96 radio. This is on the ground in St. Petersburg, Florida. APDF, who is the organization who wrote this really dynamic grant, was applying to be, and actually was awarded $36,000 of a grant for small equipment upgrades and other works at the radio station, and this was revoked by the Board of Supervisors. Then in March 2023, we saw an ongoing onslaught of domestic economic sanctions on the self-determination programs of the Black Power Blueprint, APDF, and Black Star Industries. We saw this through Regents Bank, which closed Uhuru members' bank accounts, credit lines, canceled mortgage loans that we had, where we had to pay some loans up to $800 or $80,000 in a matter of months. We also saw GoFundMe, which held over $9,000 in donations to the Hands Off Uhuru legal defense for 3 months, only releasing them after we had to take legal action. We also saw Stripe, who temporarily blocked some of our sustaining donors as well. The list goes on, and Chairwoman Penny can even speak to some of the recent, attacks. Yeah, if you want to say just a few words about what you're seeing now around these,
yes, I just wanted to say that just as the US government does to colonize people, it puts sanctions, economic sanctions, as part of an attack on colonized people around the world, and did this to the African People's Socialist Party and the overall Uhuru movement as well, in a really serious way. And as has been said, the party in the office of the deputy chair, Onizine Shatella, had years, literally years of working with Regents Bank, had paid back many mortgages and loans and all kinds of things over decades, literally. And all of a sudden came a letter that those accounts were closed. And the same happened with the African People's Solidarity Committee. We had movement accounts with Regions. The people at Regions at the local branch loved us. They were really great, but this came from the top level, from the US government itself, and it closed my personal accounts and all of the movement accounts with the Solidarity movement that we had there. And I just wanted to say one other thing about it, because then after they closed the accounts and they closed other of the party's accounts, Uhuru movement accounts, I got these letters. I just want you to see this, because this has no letterhead on it. This looks like it was typed by an old typewriter at the local FBI office. I probably wouldn't have opened it, but I did just to check. And it says it's from Card Services Support Unit, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, indigenous land, of course. And it is saying that that during a recent review of your account, we discovered information suggesting that you were previously convicted of conspiracy to act as an agent of a foreign government. As a result, your above referenced account was closed October 23rd, 2024. Uhuru. So that's what's happening. That's part of the economic sanctions that they are putting on the Uhuru movement. They're trying to.
That they are trying to, but that they are very serious about. And thank you, comrade. So that's just an example of from March up until just last week, we are continuing to see these attacks. And, we pushed back on the ground in Birmingham, Alabama. We had a rally and a march on the headquarters of Regents Bank. We want to salute the comrades
Yes,
and
that's
everybody
so
who
good.
came out from, from various parts of the country to participate in this mobilization. And again, then we moved on into April 2023, where finally, the U.S. government figured that they had enough now to indict, and so the Department of Justice indicted indicts Uhuru, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, Penny Hess, and Jesse Neville, the Uhuru Three, and the People Fight Back. This happened on April 18th, 2023. Around this time, we were also headed to Cuba as an organization to take this struggle worldwide. And so here are some of the comrades and those of us who were on the ground out there taking this fight back there. May
Uhuru.
2020. Oh,
I
Uhuru,
just
comrade.
wanted to also say on that, because that was you, just for, if nobody remembers, but we did have a webinar on this. Chairman Wasey went to Cuba, and this is in Havana right there. The
Yes.
whole Hands Off Uhuru banner. That was so exciting, and you did a really great job. I do want to just add, or maybe you have it in here, that part of the attacks on the Uhuru Three is that they stole our passports, so we cannot travel.
Yes.
And we have to get permission. We have to call a parole officer every Wednesday, and that's been going on for a year and a half. And if we're going to travel, we have to get permission from the prosecutor. Uhuru.
Yeah. Uhuru, comrade. Yes, and that's actually coming right up because so thank you though, because I may have just skipped right over it, but that's really important, is that in May 2023 was when the arraignment hearings happened for the chairman, Penny, and Jesse. And again, these comrades were put in handcuffs, they were put in leg irons, they were held in cells for hours.
They put
They were
Chairman
also
Omali
released.
Yeshitela in leg irons and
Yeah.
arm, what do you call that? Like, handcuffs with chains going
Like
down.
the shackles. Yeah.
Yeah, shackles, and it was
Right.
outrageous.
Right, just an attempt, to humiliate the chairman, to humiliate this, movement. But, and it's clear on this day, these comrades were released on bail. As Chairman Penny said, their passports were seized. They were subject and continue to be subject to, unchecked or, unscheduled home checks or these home visits from a legal, quote unquote, court agent, and required to get, any type of permission to travel across state lines. This is something that happens weekly where these comrades have to, check in. And again, as Chairwoman Penny said, this is an ongoing, assault just on the lives of these comrades and anybody who has come under these types of attacks. Uhuru. July 2023, the Uhuru 3 our attorney, well, actually, let me flip it. On July 8th, we had the dynamic, founding of the Hands Off Uhuru Fight Back Coalition. This coalition united the anti-colonial struggle, built principled solidarity with African, indigenous, and all colonized peoples and their leadership, and pushed back and made the call to defend the right to freedom of speech. We had over 40 organizations that came on the call, many more who were unable to be there, but who united with building this Fight Back Coalition. And this was a really powerful formation that has, that we have not seen, because this stretched across political lines, with the goal to drop the charges on the Uhuru Three and a whole list of other demands pushing for the anti-colonial struggle. We also saw on July 17th, the Uhuru Three attorney, Leonard Goodman, one of the attorneys who was doing this case pro bono, which we will talk more about. This comrade, this attorney wrote a wonderful and really incredible motion to dismiss the charges. We also saw the magistrate judge who rejected this motion to dismiss, and there's other documents that you can read on our website, but we really want to salute Leonard Goodman as well, and our attorneys. August through October 2023, we also saw much of other work. So I'm just going to kind of scroll through. We pushed back. We had a Black is Back, the 15th annual Black is Back Coalition's March on the White House. That was a dynamic mobilization. It took place in 7 locations across the world. It was really powerful. we also saw, sorry, I think there's going to skip here. So in September was when we went actually down to Tampa, Florida for the motion to dismiss the charges. This is when some of that was also brought towards the judge as well. In October 2023, we had a global day of anti-colonial action. This took place virtually in Louisville, Kentucky, in Costa Rica, in Maryland, Illinois, California, as well as St. Louis, Missouri. People all across took up the stance to hold a day of anti-colonial action, victory to Palestinian, African, and indigenous people, and all colonized people. And then again, like I said, in November 2023 was the dynamic Black People's March on the White House. Again, this took place in Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, California, London, UK, and on the African continent in South Africa, Sierra Leone, Namibia, Zambia, and Liberia. In December of last year, comrades, we also saw, and continue to celebrate all of the victories of, of the people of the Hands Off Uhuru Fight Back Coalition. We saw the comrades and saluted the comrades with the Tampa Five, who were able to push back their charges as well as the release of Alex Saab. And we wanted to also salute comrades, Jesus Rodriguez of Orinoco Tribune, who was a really prominent and continues to be a prominent member of this fight back. We also adopted and continue to fight back and push back the attacks on Leonard Peltier, an indigenous man held captive on his own land for nearly 50 years. We have worked closely with this coalition, and we continue to build with them as well. We say free Leonard Peltier. And I don't know if you wanted to add anything, Chairwoman Penny, before we continue on into where we are this year.
Uhuru, well, I did want to salute the struggle to free Leonard Peltier, and the Chairman Omali Shatella, has made it clear and stated over and over again that the freedom, the fight back to free the Uhuru Three is intimately, deeply tied to the ability of Leonard Peltier to be free after almost 50 years in prison, and tied to the whole struggle of the indigenous people to the return of their stolen land.
Uhuru, comrade, right on. Thank you so much. And feel free to jump in, comrade, if I'm skipping over anything. We do have so much to recall over the past 2.5 years.
No, I know, it's been amazing.
Uhuru. So July, we kind of did like a quick fast forward looking at January of this year to July, because so much has happened. One thing that we want to remember is that beginning of this year in January 26th, we heard from the federal magistrate judge that they rejected completely the motion to dismiss, and that the trial was set for September 3rd, 2024. And, this is also when the district judge announced that they would not, again, accept the motion to dismiss, and that their recommendation was like, nope, we are going forward with the trial. And here is where we continue to hit the ground. Again, hundreds of media interviews, articles, commentary, international media coverage and support for this fight back. Again, hundreds of webinars, events, and rallies and appearances of the Uhuru Three took place throughout this year. Again, we made the call for everybody all out to the trial September 3rd. And part of this was where you saw, and many of you participated in many of our webinars, highlighting and really breaking down the case of the Uhuru Three and what this meant.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, I just
work.
wanted to say, Chairman Wasey, I mean, I love seeing these pictures over the last 2 years of all the places where people have come out and these amazing events. And I do want to salute all of the incredible comrades who are on with us right now. 65 people are on with us right now. Really appreciate all of you. This means so much, because as the chairman has said, the only way the Uhuru Three can win is in the power of the people. And indeed, we see that. So it is profoundly meaningful and important that you are here, and just that your support is here. And we're going to talk about also building for the sentencing, and a lot going on in that. But just go ahead, Chairman.
No, right. We cannot overstate that enough. And it really is not a small thing. None of this would happen without the people. I mean, everybody who is on this call has played a role in such a significant way, and we just can't overstate that anymore, than we already have. So thank you, Chairwoman Penny, and I see many of you comrades who are here on the chat, many of you who are on break and vacation, but you tuned in. I appreciate you as well. I see you here. So just really, comrades, so much revolutionary love for everybody who has, put their, thumbprint on this fight back. And
one other quick thing, somebody
yeah.
was in the chat that the donation, a link on Hands Off Uhuru is very slow. And I'm hoping that's just because so many people are going there to donate. So that might be the reason why, but bear with it and you will get on there. And we really appreciate all the donations and all the financial support, Uhuru.
Uhuru. Yeah, I hope that's the reason why, and I know our calculators can let us know more about how we're doing in terms of reaching our goal. But thank you, comrades, for letting us know. And that's what we're talking about. We are an organization and we intend to win, and we don't want anything to get in our way. So please continue to let us know if you're having any issues with donating as well. And, again, we just have some photos here. These are from the Uhuru 3 who came to the West Coast. So much love and appreciation for you comrades out here when you were here. Also, again, we initiated the Long Hot Summer. This was a really powerful mobilization, reminding us of the 1964, Long Hot Summer, Freedom Summer, where the anti-colonial struggle was building and really, at its ripeness. And also want to say during this period in the summer, we also brought in, the question of, the attack on free speech for educators as well. We saw comrades, Sister Betty Davis, who, came on the call with us, Dr. Robin Kelly, and many other really prominent, figures in this fight back as well. And I just want to salute everybody who helped to, host an event for the Uhuru 3 or make that happen. So again, the long hot summer, which we say is still happening. It's still probably hot where some of you are, and we're going to keep fighting until we are victorious. And in September 2023 is when, yes, the free speech trial of the century took place in a federal court in Tampa, Florida. We packed the courthouse. We packed the courthouse, and people showed up. And we want to salute everybody who made it out to Tampa, Florida. Those of you who couldn't make it, but were on the ground in the background, making this, become a worldwide event for everybody to understand what was happening. Again, as we said, the U.S. government lied and lost, and the Uhuru movement told the truth and won. This was a really powerful, outcome. The verdict, of course, was that the Uhuru 3 were found not guilty of being Russian agents. This violation of, not registering as foreign agents and working for a quote unquote, working for a foreign government, and in this case, it was Russia. But they were again wrongfully convicted on the lesser charge of 5 years on conspiracy to commit an offense against or to defraud the U.S. government. And this is what we are fighting back for. But again, as the chairman said, the verdict is in. We are our own liberators. We work for Black people. We do not work for Russia. The chairman said, and we continue to say, it is not over. We say victory to the Uhuru 3 and hands off Chairman Amalia Shatella, hands off our chairman. And this is, all of this was able to happen in a federal courtroom because of our brilliant legal team.
I wanted to say about that picture of the chairman.
Yeah, go back.
Now that was in the New York Times, that picture, and with the chairman with his rippling muscles, 83 years old.
Right.
Wow. They have no idea. The leadership party and Chairman Amalia Shatella is fierce, and all of the people that are on today are incredibly important to this fight back.
Right on. Thank you, Karma. Yeah, that's an important note. They really, they may have thought they knew who they were messing with, but they really have no idea. And Chairman, and his lifelong struggle will be victorious. And I really want, that's probably one of my favorite pictures too. The chairman is just, it's just a great example of revolutionary discipline, if there ever was one. And the chairman's leadership in leading the, legal team to, adopt, to understand that, that this was a political attack. And although we were taking this into the courtroom, and we have to fight it on the legal terms according to this colonial state, that this was a political attack, and it continues to be a political attack. And our attorneys, Addie Griffin, who represented the chairman Mutaki Akbar, who represented Chair Jesse Neville, and Leonard Goodman, who represented Chairwoman Penny Hess, as well as Angela Rainey and Tom Inskeep, just a brilliant legal team who really, just adopted this understanding that this was an attack on Black people, and that we do not work for Russians, we work for Black people. And you heard all of this in the courtroom, just really dynamic. And we will share with you more about how you can get a whole recap of the Uhuru 3 trial more, later on in the program.
And just want to salute the reenactment, by the way, that's
Yes.
been going on. I think we have a slide on that, but you can go to the Burning Spear channel on YouTube. The second one has come out. It's amazing. It's really powerful. I want to salute InfoEd and the party's agitprop that worked on that. Uhuru.
Yes. And in the announcements, you all are going to get more information about that, but that is really important. We have a whole apparatus that has put back out using the court transcripts, so you can see exactly what happened in the episode just on Thursday. Was really dynamic, really powerful, and just great casting of the whole team. So thank you, comrade. And again, without our donors, really none of this could have happened in the way that it did. We want to salute everybody who gave $1, who gave, $1,000, who gave $70,000. All of your donations meant something, and they meant that we could continue to tell the state that the people will not be silenced, and that we continue to push back. So again, we want to salute every single one of our donors, every single one of our supporters from across the globe who have continued to support this fight back, from South Africa to South Florida to Southern California, to South, to quote unquote South America. We have seen a surgency of the anti-colonial struggle happening through this fight back of the Uhuru 3. And again, to salute every single one of our volunteers who have helped made the Uhuru 3 trial a really dynamic fight back. And again, we just have one more slide here to show some of the sketches from comrades Hallie and Ruby, who are our sketch artists, who just did a really phenomenal job on helping to highlight this entire fight back. So we're almost there, comrades. October 2024, after we learned about this wrongful conviction, it was clear that we knew that the sentencing date for the Uhuru 3 was approaching, and we called on everybody to participate in the International Letter Writing Day, to write letters for the Uhuru 3, to get 500 letters for the chairman, 500 for Penny, 500 for Jesse, and we surpassed that goal. We received over 1,600 character letters for the Uhuru 3 because of you. Many of you are actually on this call who wrote a letter. We want to really salute and appreciate you, and we do plan to do something really, profound with how we put those letters out. Many of those letters have gone, sent. Well, they were all sent to our attorneys to be presented to the judge. And if you want to say anything about those letters,
judge? One second, for the judge to be able to get what that would be like, I don't know how much, but 1,600 letters, and they usually get like 3 or 2 from the grandmother or something. And this is so this is very, very important and exciting. And just so the sample of the letters that I was able to read, they were very moving and powerful. So thank everyone who wrote a letter. Uhuru.
They were. Thank you, comrade. Yeah, it was really important, to help the judge and the court understand just the positive impact of the Uhuru 3 and their decades-long fight for justice and self-determination for African people and all colonized people. And so your letters were a huge part of this fight back. And we want to thank everybody who made those letters, happen. And then November 2024, which was just last month, we were on the ground again in Washington, D.C. for the Black People's March on the White House. We also, saw mobilizations taking place on the West Coast as well, in Los Angeles, and as well as other mobilizations that will be taking place leading up to the sentencing in London and also in South Africa as well. We did see mobilizations for the Black People's March as well. And here we are, comrades, coming up on December 2024. We understand that we say December 2024 until it's won. We say free the Uhuru 3. We say put the colonial state on trial, build the anti-colonial free speech movement all out to the December 16th sentencing for the Uhuru 3. This is the call, comrades. It is not over. We are saying free the Uhuru 3, hands off Uhuru, hands off Chairman Amalia Shatella. So without further ado, comrades, I want to again, just, we're going to move our program. We are, keeping on time. And again, take us back to today's, well, and that was just your overview of our indictment of the U.S. government and its attack, on the, on the Uhuru movement, on the Black liberation struggle. We put them on trial. Uhuru. Uhuru. All right, let me get back here to.
That was powerful.
Yeah,
that was so
right on,
powerful.
comrades. We're going to win this thing.
Yes, we're going to kick the ass of the ruling class.
Yes, we are.
That's going to be a t-shirt, by the way.
It is the t-shirt, actually. We're going to,
it's a t-shirt now.
We'll make sure that by the sentencing, just, prior to today's webinar, we can have all that information up on Uhuru Planet. We have a couple
we'll have,
design.
Comrade Halley, I think, made that with a big boot.
Yes.
Yes,
the ruling class, Uhuru. Right on. So Chairwoman Penny, we're going to move in today's program. I do want to just say a couple of things. We do want to highlight members of the Hands Off Uhuru Fightback Coalition and just give an update. And again, if you go to handsoffuhuru.org/coalition, you can take a look at all of our members to see who is a part of this fight back. And as we, shift the program to start to discuss some of the upcoming or just some of the ongoing fight backs, I just want to remind everybody that today is a fundraiser to raise $1,000 towards our legal fund. Again, this appeal that we will engage in following the sentencing is going to take maybe about 2 years, and we want to continue to fight back and to raise the resources for this appeal. So go to handsoffahuru.org/donate to make your donation. And so we do want to just talk a little bit. I'll just name who you're gonna, what we're gonna address in this section. But actually, well, Chairman Penny, do you want to start us off with the first attack? Yeah.
Yes, and I think, I don't know if we have pictures of this up, but and we're gonna do this. This is before we bring up Comrade Efia Nwangaza, which is such an honor to have her on today, and we will be getting to her just in a very few minutes. But we wanted to just sort of give a little news. And one of the things is that the Students for Justice for Palestine, which is an organization that has appeared with Hands Off Uhuru on several different occasions, and who we consider a very close working partner, at George Mason University I believe that's in Virginia. There were raids of offices and homes of Students for Justice for Palestine, very similar, somewhat similar to the raids. I think this is a picture of them demonstrating, but so there, and I just wanted to say Professor Bassam Haddad of George Mason University, who is the coordinator, I guess you would say the professor who is the coordinator of the Students for Justice for Palestine, he wrote, "Universities and university administrators have become an extension of state power. And we have now seen it firsthand in this case of a violent raid into the student's home without any material evidence whatsoever." And this is, and this was Bassam Haddad, who is the founding director of the Middle East and Islamic Studies Department at George Mason University, and also an associate professor at the Schar School of Policy and Government. And so just to say that one of the things that the Chairman Amalia Shatella, has always put out from the very beginning, that the attack on the party and the Uhuru movement was the canary in the coal mine, meaning, when they hit that means all the air is coming out of the mine, and it's going to be you next if the canary dies. And that we have seen so many other organizations subsequent to the raids on the Uhuru movement. We've seen so many other organizations being attacked in very similar ways. So we just wanted to say that. We're going to bring up very shortly a member of Lupe, Actually, Comrade Lupe from Union de Barrio and RA, and that the judge dropped the case on the Liberated too. So we're going to talk about that in just a minute. We want to salute Comrade Kamal Franklin, who is an attorney from working with Stop Cop City, and he was recently in St. Louis for an anti-racism conference, and we have comrades who attended that and said that he very much talked about the case of the Uhuru 3 and the significance of that. We want to salute him. And we have a little segment on Jan Lawman next, or shortly. And then, of course, we want to read this document from the Leonard Peltier Committee calling for, and I won't be able to read the whole thing, but you can read it on our website on Hands Off Uhuru, that Comrade Leonard Peltier just came out of a lockdown that lasted over 2 months. Family members plan to visit him this weekend. They called the prison before they left and were told that the visit was good to go after 2 months in lockdown. 80 something, at least 80 years old. So, and he's at the Coleman prison. He's in a supermax for absolutely no reason. And so, just please read this whole letter. And it's asking people to, to be able to write your senator and there's a sample letter here that you can use to write. They want you to send to the Senate Judiciary Committee, Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois, and et cetera. So please check out that letter. Please write a letter to what is being called for in the U.S. government. And finally, we wanted to thank again Scott Ritter, and let's watch a little clip of that. So I think if Lisa wants to put that on, yeah.
And just before we say, Chairwoman Penny, I wanted to thank you for sharing that information about Comrade Leonard Peltier. That information we're going to get up on the website after this webinar. So just, come back to our website to look for more information about how to write those letters. Uhuru.
Uhuru. And this was Scott Ritter speaking at Rock Us Back in November.
There will be no ability for people like me, people who look like me, people who think like me, to learn more about the Uhuru 3 movement and the Black National Movement unless we have free speech. Yes. Because free speech isn't just about speaking freely. It's about your ability to be heard as well. Yes. Because if they silence you, then I can't learn. Yes. I can't hear. I can't listen. I can't absorb. I can't further my own, because this is one of the most important issues. I told Chairman O'Malley when he honored us with the with an appearance on a podcast that I run, that the battle of the Uhuru 3 is the battle of America. It is the existential struggle of our time. That if you lose, we lose. Therefore, it's imperative that we learn about you and your struggle, because your struggle is our struggle. Let's get down to fundamentals. The First Amendment of the United States Constitution says that Congress shall not pass any laws that infringe on the ability of Americans to have a free press, free speech, freedom of association. The Foreign Agent Registration Act is a law passed by Congress, which by design is intended to stifle free speech, a free press, and freedom of association by tainting it with what they call a foreign presence. Now, I'm as American as it gets, sometimes to a fault. And I will say that I do not want foreign governments interfering in the legitimate democratic processes of this nation. This nation has many, many problems, as you are well aware. And it's incumbent upon us, we the people of the United States, to work these problems out together by engaging in discussion dialogue, debate, informed discussion, informed by the experiences of us all. I find it insulting to the extreme that the US government thinks that you have to be taught about Black nationalism by the Russian government. No matter how much respect I may have for the Russian government and the intelligence of their officials, I will yield to you on this subject, Chairman, and not the Russian government. In the same way, when the FBI came a knocking at my door on August 7th of this year, saying that I have been placed under suspicion by the US government for violating the Foreign Agent Registration Act, with all due respect to the FBI, I've been doing nuclear disarmament a lot longer than the FBI agents who came to my door had been alive. And the notion that the United States government is going to say that Russia is going to teach a man who went to Russia to disarm Russia about nuclear weapons and the need for nuclear disarmament is an insult in the extreme. And yet that's what the US government is accusing me of doing, of working at the behest of the Russian government to further a policy of nuclear disarmament. Ladies and gentlemen, nuclear disarmament wasn't invented in Moscow. Nuclear disarmament is invented in the hearts and minds of all human beings who want to live, who want to survive, who don't want to die in a nuclear holocaust. Was the Russian government behind the march in Central Park in June of 1982, the No Nuke March? No, that was Americans, American groups. Is it bad that the Russians might have also said, we don't want nuclear war? No, that's a good thing. That's a good thing to have the Russians say, we too don't want to die at a nuclear Armageddon. Right. And therefore, when people like myself reach out to the Russians to try and make common cause on this, and it's not just about making common cause. You see, the one thing that blocks, and you run into this problem too, Chairman O'Malley, this is why we have more in common than we possibly even know.
Uhuru, I'm sorry you have to stop that. That's so good, but you will be able, you can see that on Hands Off Uhuru, and if not, you will be able to. It's a great presentation, also on Black is Back website, Uhuru.
Right on. Yeah, that was really powerful. And all of these past recordings are available on the Burning Spear YouTube. But yes, we will have that information up on the Hands Off Uhuru more clearly so you can catch the rest of all the great presentations from the Black is Back Coalition webinar conference. So thank you so much for that, Comrade Scott Ritter, for your statements. And we also, so I think we can move the agenda now. We're coming up to just some brief reports. We're going to hear in this next section from our Legal Defense Support Committee, Comrade Jesse Neville, who is there on the ground with Comrade Penny, as well as you're going to be hearing from Comrades Efia, Comrades Lupe, and we're going to go on and make the call for December 16th. But before I do, if I can, just read some names of some of the people who have already gone to handsoffuhuru.org/donate. Comrades, we are almost halfway towards reaching our goal of $1,000 on today. I just want to thank so much Comrades Anne, Maureen, Ruby, an anonymous donation. I also want to appreciate Allison, Carpani, Peggy, Leah, and Leslie for your donations, and we'll take some time to announce all of those amounts in the appeal section. But thank you, comrades, for going to handsoffuhuru.org/donate, helping us to make our goal. So without further ado, we're going to turn it over to you, Comrade Chair Jesse Neville of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, our quote-unquote legal expert in the Uhuru movement as well throughout this fight back. So thank you, Comrade Uhuru.
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 Uhuru, Chair Mwezi, Uhuru, Chairwoman Penny, and everybody. I'm very honored to be here to give a report on the ongoing legal fight back of the Uhuru 3, which, as Chairman Omali Shatella has emphasized for us time and time again, is a component of the political fight back. And first of all, I want to salute the presentation that you, Chair Mwezi, and Chairwoman Penny just provided of the last 2.5 years of this incredible counteroffensive. And I just want to give that another round of applause. And I really appreciated that presentation because it was a very dialectical view of how this thing has unfolded over the past 2 years. It was not just the story of a series of attacks. It was a story of resistance. every attack the US government has made against the Uhuru movement, against the African liberation movement, that has been intended to weaken the movement, has only been met with an even fiercer counterattack that has built the movement, that has strengthened the movement. And not just the movement to keep the Uhuru 3 out of prison, as the chairman says, but the movement against colonialism. So this has been an incredible campaign, and it's not over. And we are winning. They are losing. They want to silence the voice of Chairman Omali Yeshitela. They want to silence the voice of African people. They want to silence white solidarity with Black power. They want to silence you. And congratulations, FBI. We are louder than ever before, heard by millions around the world. And nothing is going to change that. Uhuru. So again, as the chairman constantly reminds us, the legal report is inseparable from the political struggle. And, whenever I'm asked to give a legal update, I always have to start with this incredibly profound and concise statement we all know from Chairman Omali Yeshitela, that law is the opinion of the ruling class. I think we can all agree that was made grotesquely obvious with the recent presidential pardon by Joseph Biden of his sleazy criminal parasite of a son, Hunter Biden. Before he even went to sentencing, he pardoned him just a few weeks before the same government, the same Department of Justice, intends to send Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the Uhuru 3 to federal prison for up to 5 years for talking about reparations and African liberation. And as the chairman tells us, what the US government can do with their colonial law is dependent ultimately on what the people do, on the struggle by the people to push them back and make it impossible to interpret and apply the law the way they want to meet their political objectives. We saw that in the court in September when the party, the chairman, our legal team, and the people's movement destroyed the main charge that they brought against the chairman and the Uhuru 3, alleging that the Uhuru movement and the struggle for African freedom was somehow a Russian plot. That blew up in their faces, and that was a humiliating loss and defeat for the United States government. So now we have to double down and do everything possible to give them another defeat on December 16th, when Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the Uhuru 3 walk out of that courthouse without being sentenced to a single minute behind prison walls. So the people are everything. The people's struggle is the key factor that will make a difference on December 16th. So this is my appeal to all of you. If you are on the fence, if you are still trying to figure out the funding, the flights, the housing, whatever, this is my appeal to you to take that extra step. Take an hour or so out of your day, or 30 minutes, and sit down and call up somebody from Hands Off Uhuru to help you, sort through the information and figure it out. Do what you have to do to be in, first of all, St. Petersburg, Florida, for the rally in the Uhuru House on December 15th. That is also extremely important. The same way you can't talk about what happened at the trial of the Uhuru 3 without talking about the massive rally that took place in St. Petersburg on August 31st. All of these things matter tremendously. So we're calling on everybody to be there on December 15th in the Uhuru House for the rally, and also to be there in the court on December 16th. So in terms of updates from the case, there's really one main update that I wanted to share. A few days ago, the judge, William Jung, denied our post-trial motion for acquittal of the conspiracy charge. But something very interesting happened in his order to deny the motion. So he basically stated that he did not think that the verdict was improperly obtained because, he said evidence was presented, blah, 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 blah. But he admitted in writing that he had serious misgivings about the legality of the charges brought against us, and which was echoing arguments made by our attorneys during the trial, as some people who were in the court may remember. Now, he didn't do anything about it. You're probably wondering, I'm going to read you what he wrote, but you're probably wondering, why didn't he throw out the verdict then? And, I think, we can speculate on that. He essentially washed his hands of it and said, well, this is, my concern about it. It doesn't make sense to me, but I'm bound by the opinion of the appeals court. So basically, let me wash my hands of it and let somebody else figure it out. But what he said was,
Pontius Pilate.
that's right, as the chairman says. Yes, sounds familiar for anyone familiar with the Bible. He says, this is what he wrote. He said, having concluded that the evidence was sufficient, the court, meaning him, remains troubled that the defendant's knowledge of the notification requirement of 18 U.S.C. 951 was not an element for the government to prove and the jury to determine. This is 11th Circuit law under United States versus Duran. How one may conspire to violate a law that one is not aware of, and the knowledge of which is not proven at trial, even as a matter of reckless or deliberate ignorance, is a concern of the undersigned.
Say that again in your own words.
I will. Yes, I'm gonna translate this. The court, he finishes, the court is bound by Duran. So Duran is this other case from the 11th Circuit that
they always cite.
And that they claim is favorable to the government's position. The court does believe it followed Duran, including on the jury instructions given by the Duran District Court and the 11th Circuit review of them. So he's basically saying, and I will translate his initial statement, but he's basically saying, this doesn't make sense to me, but as he said during the trial, I can't sass the 11th Circuit. That's what he told us over and over again. So this is significant for a few reasons, but first of all, what he's saying is, so we were charged with knowingly and willfully conspiring to violate a law. The law we were charged with knowingly and willfully conspiring to violate is failing to register as Russian agents, the one we were acquitted of course, but that's not even what he's dealing with. Even if we were convicted, we were charged with failing to register with the Attorney General's office as foreign agents. In order to be found guilty of failing to register, this particular law, the government has no obligation to prove that you knew of any notification requirement, that you knew the law existed. So the verdict is inconsistent, as we know, but even the charges are inconsistent. Because how can you knowingly and willfully conspire to break a law where the government does not have to prove that you knew the law existed? So that's the question the judge is asking. Again, he did not therefore say, I'm throwing out this verdict based on that. But what this statement will mean for the sentencing, of course, time will tell. We certainly think that it has implications for the appeal and the motion for appeal bond, because clearly the judge is fully aware that there are serious legal problems, even from their perspective, with how this prosecution was brought about. And he's essentially saying, this doesn't look good to me, but let somebody else sort this out. But I wanted to share that legal update. We think that's, relatively speaking, an important and significant and positive development. But I will close by saying, again, whatever we can say about the legal situation, the people are the fundamental factor. When the judge walks into that courtroom, no matter what he's written in any motion or order leading up to that day, the main thing that needs to happen is that there needs to be wall-to-wall people filling that court, filling the overflow room. He needs to be startled by the incredible outpouring of support so that the decision he makes on December 16th is not based on some assumption that this is between the federal prosecutors and the Uhuru 3, but that it is evidently, abundantly clear that this is between the US government and the people, the colonial state repression and freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of political expression, and freedom, which is Uhuru. So I'll end it with that and say, handsoffuhuru.org, sign up, be there on December 15th and pack the court. We will win. We are winning. Uhuru.
Somebody is asking.
Yes.
How can more lawyers support the case? And
yes,
you just say that
very quickly. Yes, please. That is a great question, and we need as the chairman says, an army of lawyers to join this case. This battle is far from over. We're going to be going into the appeals process. We need amicus briefs. We need people on board for research. But beyond that, as we saw in this presentation, the attacks on the African liberation movement are coming from all angles. So like the chairman says, the counteroffensive needs to come from all angles as well. So we need a serious team of lawyers across the board to continue to take on a variety of struggles to defend the right of African people to fight for their liberation. And you can email info@handsoffuhuru.org and join the Hands Off Uhuru Legal Defense Committee.
All right,
Right
Uhuru.
on. Uhuru.
We are
Thank you.
winning.
Yes, victory. And thank you so much, Comrade Jesse, for that overview. And just to say that during your mobilizing presentation, we heard from Rashida, who said that she will be there in Tampa. So, Rashida, please go to handsoffuhuru.org handsoffuhuru.org. Right on our homepage, you'll see the button to register if you have not already. Let us know when you'll be there. There is a rally on the day before where you'll get to hear more of these presentations as we mobilize, and also to just, unite with Jeff, who asked the question, what about APAC and Friends of, the IDF? Are they, should they have registered too? And as we know, and as the chairman has said, that, law is the opinion of the ruling class. And so this is clear that these are political attacks, and that, yes, it is definitely a double standard. But when we're talking about the colonial state, they will turn on themselves in order to save themselves, quote unquote. And so that's what we're witnessing in this fight back. So thank you so much for that really dynamic presentation. Oh, go ahead, Penny.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Chairman, just one thing really quickly, and really appreciate Comrade Jesse.
Yeah.
As the Uhuru lawyer, and the people's lawyer, really, really appreciate the tremendous legal work that Comrade Jesse has done. And I did want to say again that over 90 people have signed the form to be at the sentencing. And that is really exciting. And I know that there's a number of people who are planning on coming that haven't even signed the form yet. And that's fine. You can come anyway, but we like to see, have an idea of who is coming. So it's right on the homepage of Hands Off Uhuru. We want to get to 150. We want 150 people to be there. So we're getting there, and really want to salute all of you who are coming and going to make the journey to be there on December 16th and if possible the day before at the big rally on Sunday, December 15th. Uhuru.
Uhuru, thank you, comrade. Yeah, just a quick update on who said they were coming, and we have a goal to have, to even double that amount. So if you plan to come, make sure that you go to fill out that form as well. And so thank you so much, comrades. And we're gonna move our program right now to our next speaker. We're going to hear from Comrade Sister Efia Nwangaza, longtime veteran of the Black Liberation Movement and organizer with SNCC, a really dear comrade, an expert on so many levels. There's so much that we could talk about with Comrade Efia, but on today, Chairman Penny is going to, ask some questions around, your history, Comrade Efia, and also why it's so important for us to be behind this movement. So thank you, Comrade, for being on, and I'll turn it over to Comrade Chairwoman Penny. Uhuru.
Thank you, Chairman Wazee. And again, it's always an honor to have Efia Nwangaza on with us, and just such an important part of the whole Hands Off Uhuru family, I guess we would say. And also that Comrade Efia is also an attorney. So a political attorney for the movement. So thank you so much for coming on. Let me just make sure. Yes, I see you. It's wonderful to see you there. And Comrade Efia, I just wanted, if you could tell us a little bit about your history with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, in the 1960s, which I know you played a very important and leading role in.
Uhuru, it's my honor and my privilege to be on with you all and to participate in the struggle to support the Uhuru 3. It seems that anything we do is still not enough, but anytime that I am able, I am available. I want to also salute you for lifting up the name of Hanani Trask and the struggle of the Hawaiian people. It was heartbreaking that during the recent fire that the Indigenous Museum was destroyed, and so much of the archives just completely wiped out. So we look forward to being able to help them to reconstruct their history, any documents abroad that be sent to them so that they can reestablish that. I was born in the movement to proud Garveyite apostolic movement builders. And as a veteran of SNCC, I'm a proud comrade of Chairman Omali Yesatella. And I salute the chairman and you all, Penny and Jesse, for your courage, your integrity, your steadfastness to the struggle for human freedom here and abroad. In working with SNCC, I of course started out with the typical college scud work. I revived was the guardian of the mailing list. So that meant pulling out all of the return fundraiser letters and pulling the plates out of the aggressograph machine. In those days, back in 1965, you had metal plates in trays that could be a block long. And in order to save postage, we would, when we got return mail, I would have to go through that block long list trays and find that one metal plate for that one address. Fortunately, I was relieved of that duty and transferred to the committee for the special election for Julian Bond when the Georgia House refused to seat him when he, as communications secretary for SNCC, announced SNCC's opposition to the war on Vietnam and against the people of Southeast Asia. We ultimately won both in the streets and in the courts, as is occurring with the Uhuru 3. Following the victory with Julian, the members of the special committee became what is known as the Atlanta Project. The Atlanta Project is the project that wrote the initial position paper calling for Black power or self-determination, which was not well received at the outset because it was understood that if we were going to demand, if SNCC was going to demand that its white colleagues were going to be under the leadership of Black people, the subject of the struggle, the most directly impacted, that it was going to stand for human rights across the globe, not just for Africa, but for the Palestinian people, that the funds that it was enjoying with conditions primarily from Zionists would be withdrawn. And that is precisely what happened. And quite frankly, that response did more to destroy SNCC than COINTELPRO ever did. I served as the campus coordinator for Julian's campaign and was a part of the larger effort for self-determination with the Atlanta Project. That the conclusions that are presented in the Atlanta Project position paper, which may be Googled, and which you all have brought to life, having the courage and the integrity to implement to a degree that those of us who participated in drafting it, and you'll note that there's not a single individual's name on it because it was a group effort. None of us could have imagined the level of realization and materialization that you all have brought it to. So I am honored to be associated with you. Uhuru.
Yeah, Yes, and that was a very courageous stand then, and so important for today because of the whole issue of Zionism versus the struggle of the people of Palestine for their anti-colonial liberation. And you know, it's totally relevant for today. So that is very exciting, and also the question of white solidarity.
Exactly.
Hey, that was the forerunner, and the Vine City paper. And I really we should probably have that on Hands Off Uhuru, but we definitely people should go and Google it. It's called the Vine City paper that was written by the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee back in it was 1966, or was it before?
Well, it was released in May of 1966 as a part of what I call the first modern Black Power movement, which was held in New Orleans. The resource persons, it was organized by Marimba Ani, at that time known as Donna Moses, the then wife of Bob Moses, who had organized the Mississippi Summer Project.
Yeah.
And the resource people for the conference was John Hendrick Clark, Keith E. Beard, and Jim Campbell, who gave a historical context beginning with Africa, Mother Africa as the birthplace of humanity and of civilization, and bringing it forward to the political history of the civil and, as Malcolm demanded, human rights movement of the 1960s.
Wow. Yeah, very powerful. Well, I also, you know, as I stated, you are also an attorney, a movement attorney, or certainly an African woman attorney, and that you also have a radio station in South Carolina, and the Malcolm X Action Center, I believe, or the
Center for Self-Determination. It is an action center, but the formal name is the Malcolm X Center for Self-Determination.
Yes, and that is really powerful and very, very, very exciting. And I just wanted to see, you know, before we have to move on in this program, can you just say just how you see the importance of this fight back of the Uhuru Three, and led by Chairman Omali Shatella, and as sort of a continuation of the kinds of attacks that the U.S. government imposed on the African liberation movement of the 1960s as well. Just the continuity of the attacks and the continuity of the struggle and the fight back.
Absolutely, and I want to acknowledge you all's radio station and the long history of the Burning Spear, and the necessity that the need that is met by those mediums, by having our own communication systems to be able to get out and to control our own story, which is, of course, exactly what the jury found when it found that you all are not agents of Russia or the Soviet Union, as it would have been called in earlier days. But that you are the spokespersons for the masses of the people. The United States has no moral authority on this or any other point. The United States has been repeatedly condemned around the world. In addition to the annual UN repudiation of the U.S. for its violation of Cuban sovereignty, and more recently for its collaboration in the land theft and genocide of the Palestinian people, it has no moral authority to charge, convict, or to punish you all or anyone else. in a series of UN treaty reviews that I've conducted on behalf of U.S. political prisoners, prisoners of war, and exiles, the United States has been repeatedly condemned by its peers, indeed its superiors at the United Nations, the Human Rights Council. It's been condemned by experts sitting and taking the review for the Convention for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, for the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, reviewing it on the Convention Against Torture. The United States has no moral authority. Beyond that, the election of a convicted felon shows the hypocrisy, the legal system, and the lack of belief in its legal system. When a 34 times felon can be elected president, and at the same time, a single felonization of our children and our people is denied access to food, sheltered education, is a mark of the height of immorality. The U.S. government and its legal system has no moral authority. We demand that the verdict be set aside and the Uhuru 3 is set free unconditionally. We know that as an ongoing criminal enterprise built with stolen labor on stolen land, that it has consistently maintained a coercion, a system of coercion, which has ranged from murder, incarceration, to various forms of limitation of one's ability to realize human potential, whether you're going to talk about the assault on the labor movements in by the FBI, or COINTELPRO, as I mentioned earlier, as referenced by the Church Committee in 1975, where it said that if it had been done, the things done under COINTELPRO had been done by any other government, the United States would have been wagging its finger at them, to put it mildly. I am both a civil and human rights attorney. I here in South Carolina handled the first case of incarceration of Black women around the so-called crack baby cases. Had the Greenville City Housing Authority put under HUD supervision and control for 5 years for running public housing as if it were a plantation, wherein they could, without regard for due process, evict poor Black people from public housing on the say-so of its local managers. There are other cases that I've addressed, one of which I'm particularly proud, or another of which I'm particularly proud, is where the local prosecutor attempted to have 2 young Black boys sentenced to death in a case involving a police officer killed by his partner, killed by friendly fire when they were assaulting a group of young people who were out for an evening of fun. That the charges against my client were dismissed. So yes, I'm a civil and human rights attorney. It's just that I recognize that we cannot dismantle the slave master's house with the slave master's tool. So it's not a part of my identity, my sale of myself, my element of credibility. It is just one of the tools that I have in order to better organize and work for the liberation of African people. Thank you for this opportunity.
Uhuru.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you here today.
Uhuru, Comrade Sister Efia, yes, and just, you know, just a statement about the responsibility that we all have as, you know, human beings to forward, you know, the struggle for humanity. And I just really want to salute you, all the work that you do. And if you are going to be in Tampa, I hope, you know, that we will see you there. But you are everywhere, Comrade Sister Efia. So thank you so much, Comrade.
Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you.
Uhuru.
Thank you again. Uhuru, Efia Nwangaza.
Right on. Uhuru. And Sister Efia, if you want to drop any links, you know, with the center or any, you know, any information that you want to share, you know, with our listeners and our supporters, please do that in the chat, you know, so everybody can know how to continue to support the work that you are also doing, Comrade Uhuru.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. All right. Well, I just really want to salute this program. I want to salute everybody who has joined us so far, everybody who is donating towards us reaching our goal of $1,000 on today. Again, I want to say you can go to handsoffruhuru.org/donate to make your donation for today. This is the program, the African People's Indictment of the U.S. government, exposing the history of the government's unending conspiracy against the Black community and free speech. And next up on our program, we have, you know, really honored to have this compañera join us on today's program, Comrade Lupe Cardona. Comrade Lupe is a member of Unión del Barrio. She sits on the Central Committee. This comrade is one of two who, you know, were a part of a really significant fight back to, you know, push back against attacks on, you know, on simply what we were talking about, free speech, education. She is one of the Liberated two. Comrade, we're so glad to have you on today's call. I know it's a brief call for you, and I know you're jumping from meetings to talk about the victory and, you know, everything. So we want to appreciate you for being here. And if you need us to pop anything up on the screen, we can also help with that as well. So without further ado, I want to welcome Comrade Lupe Cardona, who is here with us from Unión del Barrio to speak on, you know, who are the Liberated to, what just happened this week, and also why people should come to Tampa, Florida for the Uhuru 3 sentencing. Uhuru.
Uhuru, compañera, thank you. Yes, as the compañera Mwizi just said, I am Guadalupe Carrasco Cardona. I am on the Central Committee of Unión del Barrio, and I am specifically in charge of the commission, Comisión de la Mujer, so the Women's Commission. And it's my honor to be able to join you all today and to, you know, urge the people to please go and support the Uhuru 3 in Tampa. We are sending some of our comrades as well to go and support Uhuru 3. It is our honor, and it is our feel that it's our responsibility to go and to support our comrades with the struggle that they're experiencing, that we know is unjust and that we must win. And also, as compañera Mwizi mentioned, I am one of the Liberated two. So what I have experienced for the past 2.5 years is also a federal case against me as my person, and against Teresa Montaño, who's a professor of Chicana and Chicano studies at California State University, Northridge, and also against Cecily Mayer Cruz, who is the first woman of color, as they say, president of the large teachers union, local teachers union, United Teachers Los Angeles. She is a African and Chicana. So Afro-Chicana, and a very powerful person, a very powerhouse, who is absolutely there for our children and ensuring that our children get what they deserve in their educational experiences by defending and representing the educators of Los Angeles. So the three of us, including Liberated Ethnic Studies, which is an organization that was founded right before actually the pandemic, which was it was basically a result of the censorship that we were experiencing with ethnic studies in the state of California and the whitewashing of the curriculum that we were experiencing. We decided that we wanted to liberate ethnic studies model curriculum and make it liberatory, anti-imperial, anti-capitalist, etc., right? Anti-settler colonialist, exactly what ethnic studies was founded, which was, a part of, Black studies, African studies, Chicana studies, Latino, Latina, Latinx studies, Native American studies, and then Asian studies, Pacific Islander studies, and Arab studies as well, including Palestine. And so we had been doing a lot of work with helping develop curriculum that is localized, relevant to our students in our schools in the state of California. And that is why this Zionist lawsuit was brought up against us. But we're happy to report that last week, 1 week ago yesterday, we received news that federal judge Fernando M. Holguin ruled in our favor, dismissed the suit, and basically in his write-up said that not only is the teaching of Palestine permissible in schools, that by making it illegal to teach, that is actually a sign of bigotry. That is actually a sign of an infringement on federal civil rights. And so he, in his briefing, also said that this is an attack on curriculum, and that it is necessary for uncomfortable conversations, even when it's about things that you do not agree with, to happen in classrooms in order to ensure that our students are learning what they deserve to learn and in order to be more informed. And so we're very, very happy. And then additionally, he granted us an anti-SLAPP motion, which essentially acknowledges that these Zionist attorneys and their Zionist clients that they added onto the suit later were in fact trying to prevent speech that they politically do not agree with. And that and another thing that's very important is that the judge is acknowledging that talking about being anti-Zionist, learning about anti-Zionism is not equivalent to preventing anyone from practicing their religion. So this is all very significant. We're very proud. We're very relieved. It was 2.5 years of experiencing this, but we're also happy that any other cases that are out there, which we know in the state of California and beyond, there are cases in classrooms where teachers and programs are being persecuted for the teaching of, labeling what is actually happening, a genocide, et cetera. And so we're hoping that the case will help. And, we are also very grateful to the African People's Socialist Party for being for us on our side during this 2.5 years that we experienced this, and the support and the platform here to be able to share about that. And for that reason and all the other reasons of alignment with the socialist platform, we are absolutely going to be in Tampa, and we urge everyone out there to also go and support in Tampa, and also to support with, if you can, donating as well, because we know that what the African People's Socialist Party is doing for the African people is beautiful, inspirational, and I have personally and in organization have learned a lot, and I'm very inspired by what is being done, and I am very happy to continue this relationship going forward. Uhuru, and thank you for this time.
Uhuru. Uhuru, comrade, that's a victory. That's an anti-colonial victory. And yeah, just really powerful. I had the beauty or the opportunity to attend the press conference on Monday, and there was just such a warm, just a broad range of support from educators. And this really was a victory for, education. And just to hear some of the judges' statements, this shows just we have to continue to push back, comrades. And, every attack that they bring on us, we will come back tenfold in a counteroffensive. And I just want to salute you, compa, Cecily, Teresa, and everybody who is, going to build off this victory, because as we say, it's not over. So thank you, Lupe. Yeah, so Uhuru, Penny, go ahead.
Well, that's a victory for everyone. Again,
Yeah.
That is so important. And we really salute the comrades from Union de Barrio and the Liberated too. Powerful victory, Uhuru.
Uhuru. And
we'll see you in Tampa.
Yep, exactly. We'll see y'all in Tampa. And, you know, we just put in the chat too, compa, the link to the statement from Unión del Barrio about the victory. And that's also available on the Hands Off Uhuru website. Perfect, good. So that's it directly on the Unión page, and then you can also find it on our website as well. So please, you know, share that, you know, follow Unión as well. These comrades have done just tremendous work in an over 40-year, you know, relationship with the African People's Socialist Party, and until it's won. So salute to you, comrades, and thank you for joining us on today, Lupe, and just send our regards to everyone. Uhuru.
Thank you. Will do.
Thank
Uhuru.
you,
Thank
compa.
you.
Uhuru. Right on. All right, Chairwoman Penny. So we are moving on. I know we just shifted some things in our agenda. So we are, remind me where we are next.
Well,
calling
what
people to come
we're
to
just
Tampa.
gonna reiterate, and we've been saying this the whole
Yeah.
time, fill out the form on the
Yes.
homepage of Hands Off Uhuru that you will be attending the sentencing on Monday, December 16th. And if possible, and many people are coming on Sunday to be at the Uhuru House for a huge rally. And so pack the courthouse, can't emphasize enough what that means, how important that is to the influencing the judge for this sentencing, which is very, very historic. And again, we currently have over 90 people who have signed up to come, and we have many others who will be coming, I'm sure, as well. So
Yes.
we are going to go into our appeal, and really, as always, so happy to welcome Comrade Amanda, very fierce fighter for the resources needed to win this battle on that front, on the economic front, and just done a great job, comrade,
Uhuru.
on this job.
Uhuru. Uhuru, well, thank you. Thank you, Chairwoman Penny and Chair Moisey. I'm really honored to be here, and just want to really appreciate the overview that you gave, Chair Moisey, on the crimes that the U.S. government has committed against the Uhuru movement, against African people, and against indigenous people that we heard about during today's webinar. So, that is the government that is attacking the Uhuru Three, the chairman of the African People's Socialist Party, Penny Hess, and Jesse Neville. So all of us here today, I know that we really salute and appreciate the Uhuru Three, and want to support this fight back and want to see the final victory come through at the end of the appeal, when the charges are dropped and they are totally acquitted of all of their so-called crimes, which we're going to hear from the chairman, a little clip that I have in here, what the chairman feels about the results of the case. So yeah, I just want to really appreciate the Uhuru Three. As we've been saying, they are facing up to 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine each, which is absolutely ridiculous. So that is what we are raising money for today. Not the fine that we don't know about yet, but to make this fight back possible. So I want to go to the next slide here. And, what we heard today is that the U.S. government is guilty of their crimes. So we're in the trial right now, against the United States government. All of us here are the jury. And what I want you to do is I want you to go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate and put your votes and say whether or not you believe the U.S. government is guilty. I just want to take some time today to really appreciate the people who have already done that. I want to appreciate Anne, out in Ecuador, who gave $25, Maureen, who gave $50, Ruby, who gave $35, an anonymous person who gave $100, Allison, who gave $50, Karpani, who gave $25.
Karpani.
Peggy, who gave $50, and I just want to read their comment. The government attacks you because you are effective. So I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Tia, who gave 100, Leslie, who gave 10, Sandra, who gave 20, Sheila, who gave 10, and then of course, MQ, who gave 20. So that brings our total to $495. So we're already halfway there. That's an almost unanimous result, if I can say myself, but I want to keep going. So we can go to the next slide here. Again, our goal today is $1,000. So, make sure you go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate. And I want to give people time to do that. So pull up that website, go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate. And while you were doing that, we're going to play this clip, which is the chairman on the steps right after the the result came down from the trial in September. Uhuru.
Uhuru, comrades. I just want to, I won't be saying much. We'll be going to the Uhuru House in St. Pete to sum up. And the lawyers will be with us too. Because as you know, there are various kinds of legal implications to the entire trial and what has just transpired. But one thing is very clear and very important about the verdict. It's not even a matter of the difference in sentencing time that can be impactful in the sense that one of the charges, I think, carries with it a 10-year sentence, and another carries with it a 5-year sentence. And I mean, that's important, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that they were unable to convict us for working for anybody except Black people. That's the most important thing. They could not convict us for working for anybody except Black people. They had to say we were not working for the Russians, etc., which was critical to this entire thing.
Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Uhuru, thank you. Thank you for playing that video. And yeah, I completely agree. The Uhuru movement works for the Black community, and that is what we have seen for the past over 50 years from the work that is being done. So this slide here, it's the total that is needed for the campaign for the appeal, which is $125,000. That is for the legal fees. That's for other organizing costs, such as printing, travel, things like that. And we can go to the next slide here. And because of all of your support, we have already raised $45,000 of that amount. So that's, yeah. So that is really, really significant. I just, cannot say enough how much we appreciate you, not just for what has been raised for this phase of the campaign, but also what has been raised over the past 2 years, which is over, $600,000 when you include the amazing pro bono contribution from Leonard Goodman. We can go to the next slide here. And I just want to pause while I have this up to appreciate some donors. So Jesse gave $10, Uhuru Jesse. We have Janine who gave 20, and we have Stephanie who gave 40. So we are now at 565 of our overall goal for this webinar, and we have 435 left. So if you can, go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate, and you can give $435 or any amounts above or below that as well. And while we're on this slide, I just want to appreciate our sustainers, because we have so many people that every single month, without thinking about it, that give to this campaign. So we have Matsamela, Peg, Akile, Raya, Chess, Robert, Isaac, Wendy, Penny, Brendan, MQ, Ronaldo, Leah, Patrick, Michael, Len, Aisha, Gail, Virginia, Rod, Adrian, Linda, Phoenix, Frank. And then I'm really excited to announce these new people from the last webinar that we had, which are Jan, Jim, and Marcus. So I really appreciate our monthly sustainers. We actually have about $900 coming in per month, which is very close to our goal. And that just puts us in a position where we know that's how much money we have coming in. That's how much we have available for, the various expenses of the campaign. So it really puts us in a good, stable position as we move into this appeal for the next 2 years. So we can go to the next slide here. Yeah, so I just want to see, are there any pledges? I'm just going to open my text and see.
Uhuru, I'm going to put in $50 today.
Right, Uhuru. $50 from Chairwoman Penny. The Hands Off Uhuru Western Region is going to pledge $50 as well. So Uhuru, I believe that puts us at 335 remaining. I'm looking at my calculator now. That's correct. Okay. And we do have an audience here as well in person. So if anyone would like to contribute, you can raise your hands. I know some people already have. We have Maureen, we have Ruby, we have Allie, and Jesse as well.
Uhuru, Comrade Amanda, you can put me down for 100 as a pledge, which I'll complete after the webinar.
All right, Uhuru. So just 235 left to go, and we can move on to the next slide here.
And we still have over 50 people on.
We do have
So that would be
And we
very
do have one comment in the chat, Chair Amanda. It says here, I don't have PayPal or Venmo or anything other than a credit card and cash. Is there a donation option? So if our chat moderators can drop the link in there again, but if you want to just tell them all the ways that people can donate, Carmela Amanda, that would be great. Uhuru.
Yes, absolutely. So you can use a credit card if that's the option you have available to you. And then I want to let everybody know that you can also contribute. I'm just trying to pull up the list here directly from a bank account, from a donor advised fund. You can use crypto. You can give stocks. You can give, Venmo, like was said. And so there's a lot of different options that you can use to contribute to this campaign, which some people have already done. So
And I just really wanted to salute Richard, who has been on, who is part of the whole the Victory to Indigenous People of Hawaii organization and works around the liberation of the Philippines as well. So thank you so much for being on.
Yes, thank you, Richard. All right, and we got that information in the chat for him as well. So thank you. And I see Larry Wells.
Yes,
Larry.
All right,
contribute
Uhuru.
100. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Larry, I remember Larry's been part of Hands Off Uhuru, I think the whole time. Really appreciate you, Larry Wells.
Uhuru. And we have Belinda Parker Brown who's contribute 40. So Uhuru.
Uhuru. Another day one supporter and comrade.
Yes.
Uhuru.
Only 95 left to go. We absolutely can do that. There's, what did we say? Over 50 people on this webinar. So anything that you can contribute, I can't do that math right now. I think 10 people can give $10. That would bring us there. 20 people could give $5. So anyone that wants to contribute, one person can give $95 or $100. If that is a possibility, go ahead to handsoffuhuru.org/donate.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. And while people are doing that, we can go through the next slides here. So I just want to say you can join the resource committee. We will be having meetings after the sentencing. So we want you to bring your ideas, your skills, and your commitment to this team so that we can raise the rest of these resources. And Richard just gave 50. Uhuru.
Richard. So much.
Yeah, thank you
for being on, supporting.
25 from Brendan. All right, Uhuru. So only $20 left. Only $20 left. So people can think about $20 from Jan. All right, Uhuru.
Uhuru.
All right, we raised $1,000 towards the expenses, and that's going to go towards the appeal and our legal expenses. So we really, really appreciate that from everybody today. And you can continue to go to handsoffuhuru.org/donate. Anytime.
Anytime. And we see your donation and your pledge. Richard, again, just thank you so much, comrade. Right on, comrades. We are winning. And I just want to reiterate the call from Chair Amanda around participating in this fight back, with your, bringing your skills, your ideas, and, becoming a team member. So I know Amanda can say more about that, but that's another way that we can always give back, with all of our brilliance in this fight back. So I'll turn it back to you, Amanda.
Uhuru, thank you. Yes, and these are just some examples of what you can do on the committee. You can be on the give backs team, sending out thank you emails and cards, helping with the accounting, calculating the money that's coming in, what's needed, and just keeping track of that in our cash flow documents, making promotional documents, letting the world know that this campaign is happening and how much money is needed, just to, making that out in a very visual way. And there's so many things that can be done on that committee as well. So Uhuru, and thank you all so much. Yes, I have another text. And I want to just really appreciate the deputy chair of the African People's Socialist Party, who leads all the economic work of the party, and just all of her brilliance, and that is the leadership over the concrete economic development work that is building a new world. So Uhuru, and then I have another $15 from an anonymous person. So Uhuru. All right, Uhuru. Thank you.
Uhuru to all the anonymous donors.
All right, Uhuru.
Right on, comrades. Thank you, Comrade Amanda. Salute to you and all the comrades behind the fight back of raising these resources. It's just really remarkable work, Uhuru. All right. So, Comrade Chairwoman Penny, I'll turn it back to you. Or are we going to play the next video
The
of the
next,
chairman?
well, before we do that, I just wanted to shout out Comrade Jan Lahman, who wasn't able to be on today. I do want to say, we always try to pack these, we always end up having so many comrades come on these events, and it's really, really exciting. But I just wanted to say something about Jan Lahman. He wasn't able to be on today. He is a comrade who has spent almost 30 years as a political prisoner, and who has been somebody who's been very important in Hands Off Uhuru as well, a supporter. He's been on our webinars in the past. He wasn't able to come on today because he's getting knee replacement surgery, but he said that, I wanted to let you know that I can't really help out with the webinar. I'm about 2 weeks out from a total knee replacement. So, and so he just got a total knee replacement, I guess, on both knees. It went well, but some serious healing for the next month at least. So I can't really do much right now. But he said, of course, the APSP and all the work of the chairman and the party and its support organizations is invaluable. And in the fight against the US imperialist state in 2024. So thank you, Comrade Jan. Really appreciate you, and we will we'll hope to have you on in the future. And if possibly not possible that you came to Tampa, but I know you will be there in spirit. So
Yes. Right on. Thank you for that, Chairwoman Penny. Yes, we want to appreciate everybody who tried to make it on and could not, and Jan is one of them, and just the work that the comrade understands needs to be done, wherever we are, situated in this fight back. So thank you for taking that time, Chairwoman Penny, to read that statement. And salute to you, Comrade Jan Lahman. And now we're gonna, as you'll see, and as we want people to understand too, right now, we have like another aspect of our fight back is our media team, our Hands Off Uhuru, media team, who has done just remarkable work to book interviews with the chairman, the Uhuru 3, and these comrades are out there all over, doing videos and different type of work. And so the chairman is unable to join us on today, but we did want to share a brief presentation that the chairman gave on last week's webinar. This was our webinar titled On Thanksgiving, Victory to African and Indigenous People. We're going to just play a short excerpt of the chairman's statements, which are still relevant, and we want everybody to take a moment to hear these words. Uhuru, we can roll that clip.
Uhuru, I want to express my appreciation to Secretary General Comrade Mwezi, not only for the introduction, but for the incredible work that she has been doing along with Comrade Penny Hess in providing leadership for the Hands Off Uhuru campaign. Also, Comrade Ward, he referenced the fact that we've had a long-standing relationship. It goes back a long time, and the fact is that we worked with the American Indian movement. I was in Big Mountain in Arizona when the Diné were under attack, and there was an assumption that the federal government, the same FBI organization that's responsible for the assault on Leonard Peltier and Pine Ridge and on our organization offices in St. Petersburg, Florida, and St. Louis, Missouri, that they were planning to attack the Big Mountain because they had discovered uranium there. And just like every instance when they've placed the indigenous people in various concentration camps throughout this country, they will discover resources there, the same resources that brought Europeans or people who came to be known as Europe to this place in the first place. They found more. And so they would move the indigenous people. They would make a tax on them and what have you. I think that's part of what Custer was about when he met his fate. So we were there. And we've always recognized a really deep and profound relationship. And we've always recognized that when we were brought here at gunpoint to this land, and that we had no friends except for the indigenous people. And that there were deep and profound relationships that developed, and blood relationships. And we fought wars and battles together throughout what is called Florida and Georgia and many other locations. Even the Seminoles, as came to be characterized, Cherokees and Creeks, I mean, had deep and profound relationships with African people. We fought, and that the U.S. government waged an incredibly fierce and relentless struggle to separate us, to create divisions and things like that, because together it was impossible to defeat us. So I want to just express that that we are talking about Comrade Ward, and we're talking about Leonard Peltier, but we recognize that Comrade Leonard Peltier and Comrade Ward are representative of a social system that was born at the expense of African people, indigenous people, and Palestinians for that matter. And I think it's necessary to speak to this question of on Thanksgiving Day. And because we have to talk to the process that brought us collectively here, to this meeting, to this relationship that we continue to build on. The Thanksgiving Day ceremony, celebration, that was created as a part of the process of consolidating a national identity of the colonizers in this country. It's part of those things. There are several things, holidays, etc. The point is to consolidate a national identity, because you got to remember when these Europeans, people who came, Europeans first came here, there was no national identity. So the process of killing indigenous people, taking the land here, enslaving African people went into the fabric of the national identity of the people here. It's deep and deep into the culture and consciousness of the people. There is no such thing as an American prior to the attack on the indigenous people. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing as an American consciousness, but prior to the assault on Africa and our kidnapping and being forced to labor in the process, and things like Thanksgiving are part of the consolidating national identity that came about. And so when we say on Thanksgiving Day, what we are talking about is rejection of the process that brought us, this parasitic process, bloody process that brought us into this relationship, a bloody process that including trained dogs that were trained to eviscerate, to tear the guts out of indigenous people, including the fact that when the people who came to be known as Europeans got here, there were no horses here, so that they would literally jump on the back of an indigenous person and ride that person like an animal, like a beast of burden. The fact that the practice of rape, and particularly of 10-year-old indigenous girls, that was how this whole national thing got consolidated, a national consciousness, the contempt that's expressed in 1,000 different ways at indigenous people, at other people, that whose resources and identity, culture, dignity, and what have you came under assault. I think it's my responsibility to, just as it is everybody here, we want to free Leonard Peltier. We say, free Leonard Peltier, free Leonard Peltier. We want not only to say free Leonard Peltier, however, we have to say victory to the indigenous people. We have to say victory to the people who were fighting back at the time the FBI came in and murdered all kinds of people at Pine Ridge, because we cannot allow them to isolate Leonard Peltier from the struggle of indigenous people whose lands are occupied by parasites, by people who achieved identity through the process of killing indigenous people and taking their resources. We have to say victory to the Palestinian people who fell also, who are under the crush. And there's an incredible history here that most of us don't know, because the government doesn't allow for free speech around these questions, and and the government media that they like to pretend doesn't exist. As they like to say, there's no such thing as a state media here, but there is state media here. And the government media, I mean, like the New York Times and the Huffington Post and the Washington Post and all of these other entities, and your local newspaper for that matter, they don't want this discussion to occur. They engage in self-censorship. So there is no discussion about what happens to the indigenous people, what happened. In fact, as you know, right now, we're seeing situations where throughout this country, local governments are preventing, making illegal, teaching the history of African people, teaching anything that they say would make white children feel uncomfortable. And I don't think, I think that's the colonizer speaking and the ruler speaking, because I think there's no such thing as truth making people uncomfortable unless they have a stake in hiding the truth and keeping the truth from being told. And the fact is that the African people have to tell the truth, because we cannot find our freedom without telling the truth. The indigenous people must tell the truth, must explore the truth, as opposed to the colonizers and the oppressors who must necessarily obscure the truth. They can't tolerate the truth being told. So we have to say that this relationship that we have with what they like to refer to as the West, although it has nothing to do with geography, it really means the white man. It means the colonizer countries, because you have a West that includes Germany on the one hand, that then includes Israel on the other hand. It includes New Zealand and Australia. It includes the U.S. or white people. This is the West that they're talking about. It's a colonial designation, just like race is a colonial designation to obscure real, genuine relationships. But the fact is that we live in a world that was brought together. It wasn't always like this, as I mentioned, just in terms of the consolidation of national consciousness of a people that would be characterized as Europeans. Came about as a consequence of an assault on this land, in this land, I mean the United States, characterized the United States, this territory that I live in, and that from which I'm speaking right now. But we are dealing with a struggle that has an origin at least 600 years old. When Portugal, feeble, tiny Portugal, struck out and initiated the process of capturing African people, transporting African people, being in the vanguard of much of Europe that was trying to discover the gold that Mansa Musa had displayed. And when in his long trip from across Africa, from Mali going to Egypt, and where he had something like at least 6,000, may have been as many as 60,000 people in his retinue. And where every place he traveled, he was giving away gold and building mosques and things like that. And there's a tremendous amount of resource. And you're talking about in the 1300s. In the 1300s, this is pre the emergence of Europe. In the 1300s, this territory where most of what we call Europe living, it was an incredibly impoverished population that we are talking about. So that in England, in London, that actually people were so impoverished and hungry that they were eating their animals, their cats and dogs and babies. And this is a little truth. I'm not saying this to, generate some kind of click, what do you call it? Click bait. This is real truth that happened. And so there was starvation. And then the 1300s, again, is when Mansa Musa, like, where did this gold come from? And to rescue itself, they created all these fanciful notions that the Europeans left Europe and because they were on this quest to get to find out if the world was round, they were on this quest to bring Christianity and civilization to the uncivilized ones of us, because they had a surplus of all that stuff. But the reality is they were starved.
Uhuru. Uhuru, comrade. Thank you to our AV team for pulling that clip up. of the chairman's presentation on last week's, or a couple weeks ago, our webinar, also which featured Ward Churchill, revolutionary activist, author, and other members of the Leonard Peltier Ad Hoc Committee. And just to reiterate that the struggle to free the Uhuru Three, the African, liberation struggle, we understand is happening on indigenous lands, and none of these struggles can be isolated from one another. And the chairman just laid out even just the history of, some of the first conquests, when this, colonial mode of production was initiated and its attack on Africa as early as the 14th century. And so this is an old struggle. This is nothing new, but how we are taking it on and our strategic approach to having victory in our lifetime is new, and it will be victorious. And I just really want to appreciate and salute the chairman, who couldn't be with us on today, but is always with us and is driving this, to the end. So.
Uhuru, yes, that was powerful, and it's always so clear that regardless what the state does, it cannot silence Chairman O'Malley Chattel, the voice of the African liberation movement and the voice of solidarity, of white solidarity with Black power and the fight for reparations to African people. So yes, this has been an amazing, really powerful webinar today.
Yes,
really salute everybody who was on, and of course, Chairman and your leadership. It's really been great.
And Chairwoman Penny, just before we move towards close, there was some more donations that came in, and I want to take a moment to acknowledge those too. I want to salute comrades Kara for your $50 donation. Thank you, Kara, as well as Christine, who donated $25. MQ, Comrade MQ, $15. Uhuru.
Uhuru, comrade.
Uhuru, and Vera, who donated 100 and said, I can't be there in Tampa, but Vera, you will be there in spirit, comrade. Thank you so much for your $100 donation. And a $500 donation from the comrades with the Partisan Defense Committee. I really want to salute these comrades, Uhuru, and really profound.
Appreciate you, comrades from the Partisan Defense Committee, and everybody who has contributed.
Everybody. And those comrades were there on the ground for the trial. I want to salute Comrade Jonathan, and everyone else who was there on the ground. So we just want to appreciate you, comrades. Also, a $25 donation from Johan, Comrade Johan, longtime supporter and organizer in the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. Uhuru Johan.
Uhuru Johan.
Uhuru. So that takes us to a total of $1,730. We almost doubled our goal for today, comrades. So salute to you, salute to everyone who got us to this point. We are winning. That is a fact. Uhuru.
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 We are winning.
All right. So, comrade, anything else, Chairwoman Penny, before we move to announcements? And just a reminder for everybody to, I think we're good.
Really want to thank everybody who came on again. Yes. Love our supporters. This is a very important movement that the chairman has built, and they had no idea, the state had no idea who they were picking on. And the fierce fight back of the African working class and the organization of the African People's Socialist Party. So, just really want to salute the chairman and everybody who's on. This is exciting. We know we are winning, and we're going to see a lot of you in Tampa and St. Petersburg on the 15th and 16th. Uhuru and Comrade Richard from the Philippines and from the Hawaiian movement says the APSP is fighting for all of us. Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Powerful.
Yes, right on, comrade. Thank you. And Karpani, we're grateful for you too, comrade. Yes, we will win. When we fight, we win. And another $10 donation, I think, came in from an anonymous donor. So thank you, comrades. Keep those donations coming. Keep your support, and bring your fight back to us. If this is something that you want to be a part of, you want to be a part of the Fight Back Coalition, we encourage you to join us as we move into these announcements. we'll pull up our announcement slides and just call on everybody to, make sure that your fight is not one that you fight alone, that you bring it, under the banner of Uhuru, which means freedom, that we will, take all of this towards victory. So we just want to go ahead and speed through these announcements as we move to close on today. First things first, comrades, for all events, we invite you to go to handsoffruhuru.org/events, just to say that you will see later on today some addition of some activity and events taking place in London, leading up, the weekend before the sentencing. So please look out for that. If you're on the ground in the UK, you should be there. And if these events will be live streamed, you will have information about how to participate and support the international anti-colonial fight back. Also, again, the Uhuru 3 sentencing is Monday, December 16th at 9 a.m. But prior to, on the day before, on the Sunday, we invite everybody to, those of you who are going to be in Tampa, you will be there at the Uhuru House on Sunday, December 15th at 4 p.m. There will be an anti-colonial free speech rally at the Uhuru House. That's at 1245 18th Avenue South in St. Petersburg, Florida. And then the following day, which is the sentencing, we will have a press conference that will actually take place. So you'll see more information about that before. Also, we want to pack the courthouse, pack the overflow room, and pack the streets on December 16th. The Uhuru 3s, their sentencings will be back to back beginning at 9 a.m., followed by a closing press conference, then lunch at the Uhuru House at 2 p.m. on the 16th, as well as a summation rally at 3 p.m. So you don't want to miss that. And more information will be on our website. I want to salute everybody who has been out putting posters up, yard signs, banners, to get people to Tampa, Florida, from the East Coast to the West Coast to everywhere else. People are, mobilizing for the sentencing. So you can download the flyers by going to handsoffruhuru.org/outreach, and you can get a copy of all of the flyers and banners there as well. I cannot say enough about just how amazing this Uhuru 3 reenactment has been. If you missed the episode 2 this past Thursday, we invite you to go to the burningspear.com, go to the Burning Spear YouTube channel. So you can do youtube.com/Uhuru TV, and that will take you straight there. You can see the past 2 episodes. And then this coming Thursday will be the final episode of the Uhuru 3 trial reenactment. It's such a dynamic program. Please go back and watch. And in the link in the chat, you will also see the link for how to register to get your alerts to attend. There's probably more we can say on that, but I know we got to move it.
Awesome.
But it was just really powerful. I really want to salute our info ed tech team. Part of who is bringing you the Uhuru 3 reenactment is Burning Spear Media, and Burning Spear Media is encouraging you to become a supporter, a subscriber, or a distributor of the Burning Spear newspaper. This is the oldest institution of the African People's Socialist Party, over 50 years, still in print. This paper is bringing you the December issue of the Spear, and you can get yours by going to theburningspear.store or going to theburningspear.com/subscribe to get your copy of the December issue and future issues of the Burning Spear. So this one features some really great articles, and we want you to get your copy today. And those of you who are going to be on the ground for the Uhuru 3 sentencing, you should get you an Uhuru pie while you're at it. So this is how you can support our institutions. The Uhuru pies are there and ready for pickup. You can order your pies by going to uhurupies.org, and you can have your pickup place be in St. Pete, right there at the Uhuru G-Co kitchen at the Uhuru House. You can schedule your pickup for this coming Friday, December 13th. And from there, you will be able to choose any of these wonderful pies: apple crumb, sweet potato, strawberry rhubarb. There's so many options for you to take a pie on your way home or just eat them while you're there on the ground in St. Pete. And last, as we come up to the close, we want to encourage everybody to get your gear. As we said, there are 2 new designs that are coming out. Kick the Ass of the Ruling Class is one of them. And then another design, a t-shirt that we will have ready up on Uhuru Planet for everybody to purchase and to, take to the sentencing or beyond. So go to uhuruplanet.com or handsoffruhuru.org/shop to get your Uhuru gear. And last but not least, continue to follow us on all of our social media handles. Check out our website, share articles, share interviews, everything that you see coming up from this campaign. We want to thank you, comrades, for making that, putting that out in the world. So become a member of the Hands Off Uhuru Fight Back Coalition, defend the right to free speech, build the anti-colonial free speech movement. And without further ado, I want to say hands off Uhuru, free the Uhuru 3, hands off Chairman Amalia Shatella, and comrades, we are winning. We will win. Uhuru.
We are winning.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. Relentless.
Relentless. Uhuru.
Africa, we are winning. Shine.